So I live in a western suburb of Sydney and I travel every day to my work at Port Botany. So that roughly from my home to work and come back, that's nearly 100 kilometers a day.
To save money, Chirayu Mehta recently made the switch to an electric car.
War started, fuel prices went up, and that sort of drove me towards to go EV car, because then I can use my solar battery, which sort of saves me nearly 3 to 4 grand a year. I'm just charging at home, which is not costing anything to me.
Savings that could be eaten into. From July next year, EV drivers in New South Wales will pay a road user charge of almost 3 cents per kilometre in lieu of fuel excise.
Right now I'm just feeling with this EV road tax that by doing the right thing, we are getting punished, and it shouldn't be that way.
I certainly don't see this as an act of punishment towards anyone. I see this as an example of Australia demonstrating its egalitarian ethos in which if you benefit from a public service, you contribute to the public service.
As the government today reinstates the full 53.7 cents per litre fuel excise after a 4-month reprieve, attention is returning to if and when the federal government will set up a scheme to collect revenue from the growing fleet of EVs and plug-in hybrids on Australian roads.
Really, right around the table, people had a view that this is an idea whose time has come. And so we will do that work.
Since that economic roundtable nearly a year ago, EV sales have risen dramatically. Data out on Sunday shows EVs and plug-in hybrids made up almost a third of sales in the June quarter. Internal combustion engine sales have slumped and are now barely half the market. That's partly because of the war in the Middle East, rising petrol and diesel costs, but also because prices for battery electric vehicles have fallen.
The first round of EV adoption was in Australia's leafier suburbs where price was less of a premium. We're now talking about EVs coming out to households that are looking at their budgets incredibly carefully.
The growing appetite for EVs has deepened a conundrum for the federal government. While every new EV on the road helps with climate targets and reduces reliance on foreign-sourced liquid fuel, it also means eroding fuel excise revenue, which generates about $15 billion a year.
We don't think that people who drive an electric vehicle should have special treatment when it comes to something as basic as road upkeep.
Petrol and diesel vehicle owners pay on average $1,400 a year in fuel excise, which can work out to several cents per kilometre. Professor Simon Jackman, who led a survey of 3,000 drivers for the Electric Vehicle Council, found that consumers are highly sensitive to potential taxes.
Once you add in anxiety about range, unsure where they'll be charging, EVs are a little more expensive to start with. You throw in this just as one more headwind for the buyer that's right at the margin, and that was enough to dissuade 3 out of 10 likely EV adopters.
Jackman argues that moves to introduce a road user charge should recognise broader economic and environmental benefits of EVs.
There shouldn't just be a rich person's game, that it's rich people that get to lessen their dependence on foreign fuel. So low and slow, I think, are the watchwords, and roll this out in a measured way that is consistent with, I think, the national goals.
Despite the Treasurer's emphatic support nearly 12 months ago, the push for a federal road user charge has stalled in recent months after the war in the Middle East erupted.
We want to try and not disincentivise electric vehicle uptake, and particularly right at the moment when we're seeing such a surge in that, so it may not be the time for it right now.
Catherine King has also said that she doesn't believe there is sufficient support in the Senate for a road user charge, even though the government has never put up a detailed proposal for other parties to consider. The minister declined an invitation to speak to 7:30, but a spokesman said the task of ensuring a fair and future-proofed method of funding road maintenance should be a priority for all sides of Parliament.
A road user charge that targets electric vehicle drivers while letting big mining companies get a freebie is not something the Greens can support.
The minor party also rejects the argument that taxing EV drivers could raise money for charging infrastructure.
And surely, if they wanted to actually raise revenue, they'd be looking at the subsidies they give to big mining companies on their diesel fuel rebate as a source of revenue.
While the impetus within the government for a road user charge is low, the reality is that the status quo means fuel excise will increasingly act as an undeclared de facto carbon tax, one that will weigh ever more heavily on lower income households that can't afford the switch to an EV. But the Commonwealth's hesitancy has led to some states going it alone, WA and New South Wales for now.
Our preference is for a national system, and we would look to remove the system here in New South Wales should there be one established nationally.
Tarayu Mehta has signed a petition against the New South Wales tax organised by EV Drivers Australia.
I'm happy to pay my fair of tax, I'm happy to do that. If it's implemented by the federal government, then it's fine, because then everyone has to pay. Right now, only NSW residents who are having EV cars, they only have to pay. And I think that is not a fair way to implement.